You may know the scene. The man from Snowy River careers down a sheer drop, chasing a herd of wild horses through the high country. Now, replay the action without the brumbies. It's just un-Australian, isn't it? Well, those magnificent creatures are under threat. There are simply too many of them. And if we can't come up with a better way to control their numbers, they'll be culled. Karl Stefanovic slipped into the saddle to join the last great muster, the plan to round up the brumbies and hopefully win them a reprieve.
The chase is on in Australia's high country. I've joined the alpine stockmen on the last great muster to save the wild brumbies.
There's a rhythm in the mob. There's a sense of freedom and vitality.
It's adrenaline pumping stuff, especially for a novice like me. This rugged country is home to these fleet-footed beasts, and they know it well. It's why they're so hard to catch. One wrong step at this pace could be fatal.
It is extraordinary when the chase is on, because once their spirits up, they're really going. There's nothing like a horse when its spirit's up. And your horse senses that. And your horse's spirit is up. And you're just sitting on the back, holding on.
Exactly right.
Screen legend Jack Thompson helped immortalise the brumby in the movie The Man from Snowy River. Now he's joined forces with the nation's top horse handler, Greg Powell, to stop the slaughter of the brumbies and give them a new role in the modern world.
We're shooting something, we're killing something, and we're annihilating something which can really change people's lives. It's as simple as that.
Over 2 centuries, these descendants of horses lost to the bush in colonial times have evolved to this unique breed. But many landowners regard the brumbies as feral pests with no place in the Australian bush. Numbers are exploding, and vigilantes are taking matters into their own hands.
150 odd horses over the last 12 months have been shot by people that haven't been qualified, and they're taking the whole thing into their own hands a little bit. Very distressing. You know, it's not professionally done.
How does it make you feel, Jack, when you see a brumby being destroyed?
There's a hollow in my gut. It's not so much an anger, it's a disgust.
For years, National Parks has struggled with the brumbies' place in the fragile rangelands, as New South Wales State Director of National Parks, Sally Barnes, freely admits.
Horses that are uncontrolled in the parks do cause damage, and the reason is they've got hooves, and before we brought horses and sheep and cattle to Australia, most of the animals were very soft paws, and so these introduced animals do cause quite a lot of damage to the park, and therefore the habitat of the native animals and plants.
At present, traps are used to catch and remove the horses, but only a handful are taken out each year, and it's not enough. A recent report predicts that within 5 years, the number of brumbies in our alpine region will reach 15,000.
I mean, there's thousands, and there'll be no other option eventually but to go in there with semi-automatic weapons and take them all out.
That's exactly what happened 10 years ago, when New South Wales National Parks quietly set about culling the brumbies in Guy Fawkes National Park in the north of the state. "600 horses were shot from helicopters, many suffering slow and agonising deaths.
How are you, Greg?
All right, how are you, Carl?
Not too bad.
It was only when Greg Everingham, a local property manager, blew the whistle that the slaughter came to light.
And a lot of horses where the bullet had missed its mark and opened the horse up in big rips and tears down the neck where it joined the shoulder, and it was just not a very pleasant thing to see.
I can see them down there, right?
Yep, that's at Marengo Creek.
So these expert horsemen have devised their own plan.
They look in pretty good shape, those ones.
Yeah, they are.
They've identified where the brumbies are and reckon they can get them out in the traditional way.
They're crossing the river there now. It's probably better to get in and do something about it before the horses just become out of control.
And before they become target practice.
Well, yeah, like, that's certainly something I don't want to go back and revisit.
And so the cracks are gathering to the fray, ready to navigate the deep gorges on horseback and bring the brumbies in.
What we need to do is to get in there, and we need to catch bigger numbers of horses a lot quicker.
Just look at this country. It is absolutely magnificent. It's also incredibly rugged. Just finding the brumbies down there is difficult enough, let alone mustering them out. And that's why it's tough to control the numbers, because the area is just so inaccessible. For national parks and wildlife, it's very much in the too hard basket. And that's why if this plan doesn't work, the fate of the brumbies may have been sealed.
It looks fine on a map, but in reality, pretty rough terrain, isn't it?
Pretty rough terrain, yeah. Fairly steep and heavily timbered.
And so it was that I found myself in the saddle, tracking the mobs through tough terrain with Greg and his team.
Come on, you slow coach.
When you get a look at some of these beautiful animals, you appreciate why they've been valued workhorses and war horses.
When the nation called on horses, as we did in the Boer War, and as we did in the First World War, and as you know, right up to the beginning of the Second World War, we didn't go down to the local knackery. We went to where the blood and the guts and the sinew of the Australian horse was, out there in the bush, in these mobs of essentially brumbies.
Finally, we run the mob for home. And this is where Greg intends to prove again that brumbies can earn their keep.
He's not real happy to focus on it just yet.
Back at the yards, he sets about transforming these feral animals into valuable stock horses.
All right, he just looked at us then. They can be tamed. The brumbies we have had and the brumbies we're getting, they can all be tamed.
So now the training begins.
Yeah, the training process is something that goes over years then. You just keep building them, building their trust and developing them.
It's a process that borders on magical.
Yep, start with something a little bit rough and end up with something that's pretty magnificent. Now this is important too. See how he's thinking about just staying with me?
A bond forged with quiet words and passive movements between man and animal.
And now this is where it gets kind of pretty.
Unlike anything I've ever seen.
That is amazing. Have a look at that. Out of the wilderness.
Yeah.
Then it was my turn.
Righto, Carl. I might get you to come down here and we'll try and get something done real special.
I'm nervous.
Now the key here, Carl, is you're not trying to force him down.
Yeah.
All right, so pick that foot up. Just get a hold of it.
I wasn't confident, but Greg assured me this horse whispering skill can be passed on.
And just let him fold away from you. That's it, and rub him. And we'll just come back and let him lay there for a little bit. Again, you got the touch, man.
And that's the next step in this bushman's plan. Together, Jack and Greg are bringing troubled youth up here to the high country to learn the legend of the brumbies and hopefully tame their wild spirits.
Fantastic. Here they are
at one with nature, like with the horses, understanding that they can be together, they're a part of this whole glorious thing. It's fantastic, mate. They'll never forget this.
Now what I'll get you to do, you wander off over that way, we'll see if Snow will follow you. You walk, go for it, keep walking.
The benefit is twofold. To give the Brumby a new role and the kids a taste of life away from the city and their troubles.
Keep walking. You're doing good, Kyle.
Many have never been near a horse, let alone taken control like this.
Cool, man. That's very good. How do you feel like when you got this great big animal here?
I was nervous first. And then that's when it was following me, I was like, yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Up front there, swing your right leg over.
When they find themselves here in the bush, making a companion of this, in a sense, fellow wild creature, they come to an understanding of their own worth very easily.
There's got to be somewhere in the middle where we make some sensible decisions, and there is controlled culling in some ways, but then there's opportunities for us to increase the numbers that we can save, and that's the side that I'm on.
They are, after all, our companions. We brought them with us. We have that responsibility.
Hello, I'm Amelia Adams. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for our brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.